This is a very tricky topic, reneging an offer. And what that means is you have accepted an offer, and then for whatever reason, a couple days, a couple weeks, or a couple months later, before you've actually joined the company, you decide to take that back. And it can become quite messy because the company might have given you a laptop, might have given you materials, or even a bonus, and they probably were prepared to onboard you, and they might have even created a lot of documentation for you. And now you're kind of scratching all that work, returning the money, returning all the documents, and you're going back to either your old job or another job. So it does get messy and it can burn bridges, but we'll talk about how to avoid that. So think of it like a Uno reverse card. So a scenario here might be you take an offer, like you accept an offer, but then 2 weeks later, your dream company gets back to you and it gives you a substantially better offer. It's better in every way. Compensation, location, the people, the technology, everything is better. So most people would go ahead and take that other offer. And actually, I would encourage you to. If it's clearly that much better, that's what you should do. You should optimize for your career. But at the same time, it's not a great situation to be in. That's the reality. So you should try and avoid this altogether if possible. And the way you do that is you want to make sure that you communicate with companies as you're going through the whole interview process about when you anticipate wanting to make a decision. And when you're doing interviews, try to align the interviews at roughly the same time so that you can get offers at the same time. And that will allow you to get all the data together at once to then be able to make the most informed decision. Okay, so let's say that you tried your best, but for whatever reason, you were not able to prevent reneging and you decide to go ahead and do it. The first thing to keep in mind is that it's not the end of the world. Reneging actually happens way more often than you think. At the end of the day, I want you to do what is best for you. Don't feel like you have this deep, deep obligation to the company and you have to uphold that no matter what. Of course, it's not ideal, but figure out what is the best in terms of your financial situation, in terms of your learning, in terms of the next step of your career. And keep in mind that what you're doing is definitely not illegal, right? It's not maybe the best thing. You might potentially burn a bridge, but employment is at will. An employee can quit at any time, and an employer can fire anyone at any time. And there are some nuances there that we won't get into. But as an employee, you can decide today, tomorrow, anytime you want that I'm done, I'm out. And you don't have to feel bad about that. And so certainly before you even join the company, you have that right to renege on the offer. And the other thing too is with larger companies, if you're working at Google or if you are the HR team at Google, it's effectively baked into your forecast that if you have 1,000 job offers that you've given out and 800 of them are accepted, out of 800, only 600 or 700 will actually show up and join the company. The other 100 or whatever delta is, they will decide for whatever reason that even after signing, they will not join. So it's not that unique, and larger companies will certainly have the infrastructure to survive, and they might not care. They probably won't care that much. I had a friend at Facebook who joined with me, like we went through boot camp together. And then I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks in where he got a job offer that he really wanted at Google. So he just dropped immediately and went over to Google. That's actually in some ways a little bit worse because he joined the company and he had a laptop, he had everything set up, and then he left. If you're going to leave the company, it's better to do that as quickly as possible. So do it right, maybe like a couple days or a couple weeks after you sign the offer or right after you join. If you do it, like 2 months in, I think you're not going to be able to, you're going to have some relationships with the company, but nothing deep enough that you can actually talk about on a resume. And also you won't have that much learning or financial gain either. So in terms of what you can do to minimize the reputational damage, one is talk to the recruiter or hiring manager, and I would prefer email if it was me, but talk about, hey, I really value the time and the ability to meet everyone on the team, but this other opportunity I got is incredibly special and I would just feel so much regret if I didn't pursue it. So talk more about how this other opportunity is so compelling. Don't say anything negative about the company that you're reneging on. And keep in mind that, you would love to work with the company later. It's actually happened where I've seen cases where people will renege on a company and you would think that bridge is now burned. But it turns out that the company still wants to hire that person. And so if you're that good and the company really does want you, they think that you're very unique, you will have the opportunity to go back. But make sure that you say no, you reject the company in a graceful way, especially if you have first told them yes and now you're telling them no.